Stop sending files to random freelancers. You don't need 5 freelancers to build one product. You need a one team that knows how to bring it to life. From very first sketch to the final shipment. Let's break this down. We see it all the time. Someone has a great idea, maybe even a basic prototype or a napkin sketch. Excited and determined, they start looking for help. First up, a freelance CAD designer they find on Upwork. Then maybe they hire someone else to render the visuals, and they Google a prototyping shop and email their CAD files. Eventually, they reach out to a factory for quotes or mass production. At the first glance, it feels like a smart move, hiring experts for each piece of a puzzle. But here is the truth. Product development is not a set of small tasks. It's a one continuous process. When you break it apart and send it to multiple unrelated freelancers, you're setting yourself up for complications that can cost you far more than you think, maybe even a failure. Each freelancer is working in isolation. Your CAD designer doesn't know what kind of machines the factory uses. The person doing renders doesn't know which features are functional and which are purely aesthetic. The prototyping shop might not understand your long-term production goals, and the manufacturer, they likely come back with a dozen questions about tolerances, materials, missing technical drawings, and who knows what else. Who is coordinating all of this? You? Sure. You become the project manager, whether you want to or not, but do you have experience for it? And if you're not deeply familiar with engineering, manufacturing, or a CAD workflow, the entire project can quickly become overwhelming. Delays pile up, budget stretch, communication falls apart, and worst of all, your product suffers. Now, let's imagine a different scenario. You're partnering with a one team, a cohesive group that doesn't just understand product development, they live it every day. From concept to CAD, from prototyping to production, they move it together. Not in silos, not in the handoffs, but in real time collaboration. In this team, the person modeling the product understands how it's going to be manufactured. They know which part will need support structures for 3D printing, which angles require draft or injection molding, and which tolerances are achievable on CNC machine. They design with a reality in mind, not just theory. The engineer working on your prototype knows the tools on the shop floor. They can advise on which features will work in FDM versus SLA, or which part might be better machined than printed. And then, if something isn't quite right, they're not sending emails back and forth across time zones. They're walking over to their teammates to fix it together. This doesn't just save time, it improves the quality of your final product and removes the failure. Because the design was made with the manufacturing in mind, because everyone is working from the same page, because the team isn't just executing, they're collaborating. And that's a massive difference. Product development isn't about one file, it's about the flow. Design flows into engineering, engineering flows into prototyping, prototyping flows into a tooling and manufacturing. When that flow is seamless, product gets built faster, better, and with fewer surprises. Now we can talk about trust. When you work with a random freelancer, you often don't know who they are, how they handle your files, or what their quality standards are. You don't know if they understand compliance, IP protection, or manufacturability. And you certainly don't know if they will be around 6 months from now when you need to update your design. With a team, especially one that does this professionally, you have accountability. Documentation, institutional memory. You have people who care about one outcome, the outcome of your product, not just their piece of the task. You're not building the wheel every time you send a new email. You're building momentum. And here is the real world example. We once had a client come to us with a beautiful 3D model they paid the freelancer to create. It looked great, but it was completely unusable for manufacturing. No draft angles, wall thickness were all over the place, tolerances weren't called out, the prototype failed twice. They spent thousands to fix it. And the worst part, it wasn't because the idea was bad. It was because the people working on it weren't working together. Imagine if that client had just started with one team, a team that could have flagged the issues before they became expensive mistakes, a team that could take the project from sketch to shipment without stress, without disconnects, and without sacrificing quality. That's not just efficient, that's a smart business. Because in the end, this isn't just about saving time. It's about protecting your idea. It's about launching something that actually works. And it's about knowing that every person on your team is moving in the same direction, forward. So, If you're still bouncing between freelancers, still coordinating between CAD files, renderings, and manufacturers on your own, take a breath and step back and ask yourself, what would this look like if one team handled it all? Chances are it would look better, work better, and get to market much faster.